Yeah, great. I think we are live. So, uh, everybody, I just want to thank you for joining us tonight. And for those of us joining, if you want to go into the comments and thank Tiffany for coming on tonight. I know she's a really busy person, but this will be great for everyone to learn about her Liberty journey with the Liberty Experience program, which is my program that helps horse owners and trainers learn to build connection and clarity in communication with their horses with Liberty. So, Tiffany,
Yeah.
the reason I brought you out here is there's a lot of people in the Liberty field who want to improve their connections and communication with horses, but they're having trouble with keeping the horses with them, keeping connection. And you've done a really good job with all of this. And I'd love for you to explain real quick a little bit about you and your horse, and talk a little bit about your experience with Liberty throughout my Liberty Experience program and any experience you had coming into this.
Yeah, so sure. Well, first off, I wanted to thank Laura because honestly, this wouldn't be happening without her help. I've been playing around with Liberty for a couple years with my mare. Um, I've struggled with it a little bit because I haven't had any training in it. I came from kind of like just a riding background. I started riding when I was 12. But I didn't own a horse until this horse that I'm doing Liberty with, her name is Navira. She's my first horse. Um,
I didn't even know her name was fully Navira. Okay.
yeah, yeah. So I call her Navi for short. It's just easy. It's cute. Um, but yeah, so I got her about 3 years ago, and I've always wanted to do Liberty. Actually, I was riding forever, but it was funny because when I wanted to get her, people were like, "Why do you want to get a horse? You can ride any of my horses if you wanted to." And I'm like, "But I can't play with Liberty with your horses," and I always
Right.
wanted to try it. So I got her, and I did some Liberty with her. Mostly tricks, actually. We did a lot of trick training, so she knows things like march, she knows how to smile, she knows how to bow. And it's funny because some of that actually gets in the way now of the Liberty because she will offer those instead
Yeah,
of
she was
Liberty.
offering the bow last time quite a bit.
Yes. uh, but so I thought I was doing pretty well with Liberty, honestly. And then I found these patterns on some Liberty. It was a competition, and I was like, oh, this looks easy, I bet we could do it. And so I tried to do one of the patterns with like the 4 cones and having her like follow me around them. We couldn't do it at all. She was like not into it. She was trying to like march or bow or just run away from me the whole time. So then I was like, okay, I really don't know what I'm doing. I think our communication wasn't very refined. And then I met Laura through Facebook. Actually, I just commented on one of her posts, and she sent me a message and it's like, oh, if you want to take some lessons with me. And I was like, oh my God, that would be awesome, because I've been looking for someone to take lessons with Liberty forever. But there's no real people around me who do Liberty. So like I just do the riding stuff with other people with lessons. But yeah.
Yeah, good. And I think one of the neat things about your story is you didn't grow up with horses. Like, you have a really good story. Just kind of paint a picture for everyone, as I want people to see what's possible. Prior to the virtual coaching, you said you were doing tricks, and you were trying to do some Liberty. You talked a little bit about what wasn't working. More specifically, why wasn't that working? What do you think was going on in some of that?
So with the Liberty, I would mostly find YouTube videos to find some kind of anything that was like, oh, this is how you start Liberty. The problem with the Liberty videos is like, oh, if I was interested in this part of the Liberty, each trainer trains differently. And so like I think my like the way I would communicate the new thing to the Navi, it would get confused in her head because I had one signal and suddenly it would change because this other trainer did it differently. And so I would try to mimic their way, and
Yeah.
but then she would get super confused.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Consistency is your friend. Inconsistency is your enemy when it comes to horses.
Yeah. So I think that was our biggest struggle. And yeah, because you only find a couple Liberty videos from each trainer on YouTube, and then they're like, okay, um, that's what they have there. And so like if you wanted to do different things from different trainers, that's where the signals will get mixed up for sure.
Sure, sure. So, I mean, a lot of people will resonate with this because, not all horses are created equal. And you see all these people on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube, like you said, and they look like they're doing Liberty and they're doing some level of Liberty, but you don't really know what goes on before or after that cut. So, a lot of people might try to copy what they see out there, but they don't get the same results as the person that they're watching that video. And I think that that's what I'm hearing you're describing, correct?
Yeah, so also sometimes they're like they do show one horse who had this problem, but what if you have a different problem? Like maybe Navi does something different than the other horses do, and then I'm like, I don't know what to do in this situation, or sometimes also like even if I knew what to do in that situation, but she won't get the right answer, she keeps getting it wrong. How much am I allowed to push? And most of the time, I would just stop. I didn't want to push that hard because I didn't know what I was doing.
Right, right. Yeah, exactly. It's hard if you're unsure, and I think that confidence is one of the things that people describe as being the what holds them back from trying Liberty is because they don't know for sure what they're doing and they don't want to do the wrong thing.
Oh,
So,
yeah. That's definitely
so what
hard.
I like to do, oh, go ahead. What was that?
I was just agreeing with you.
Yeah. Yeah. So what I like to do is break things down into small approximations for both the human and the horse, right? I know for you and Navi, we work through each of the steps. So let me ask you this: how much time did you put into working with Navi during this time?
So honestly, I don't have that much time to work with Navi. Between our sessions, so we have a session, we try to have a session once a week, and in between that time, I maybe get one or two sessions in, and that those sessions are 30 to 40 minutes. Um, and
Right.
so I'm shocked at how much she's improved, honestly. I thought we would need more time.
Well, you have a good relationship with Navi for sure. And in 6 sessions, you were doing a Liberty Circle. You know, your first Liberty Circle, it's a magical moment, right? I remember when I got my first Liberty Circle years ago with a horse that I was training. Man, that really stuck with me. I I was so excited to have finally gotten there, finally nailed it, and it's really becomes an emotional thing. And I think that last session that you had gotten that first Liberty Circle, I think that was something that was kind of emotional for you. Would you say so? Yeah.
Oh, definitely. I
Yeah.
couldn't believe it. It just like clicked all of a sudden.
Yeah. And it's really it's a representation of the dedication to commit to understanding the horse, and everyone deserves an experience like that. And I think the Liberty Circle is the first thing that people really want to experience. And then from there it just grows into other possibilities, from mirroring your body language to tricks and teams and all sorts of things. And then maybe on up to creating a freestyle. And there's some pretty big milestones that a lot of people are shooting for. And sometimes you don't start thinking that big at first. You just want to build that relationship with your horse. And then before you know it, you're saying, I want to have a purpose with my horse besides just going out and doing the same thing over and over. Let's have a goal. And one day for you, you'll probably be looking at freestyle like it's old news, right? I mean, that's my thinking. So what I'd like to do real quick here is, so you mentioned the ILHA patterns, and so I thought maybe I would share my screen real quick here and show a little bit of what an ILHA pattern is. And on top of that, just show we can have a little look at your video of getting that first Liberty Circle and the steps kind of leading up to it in that video too. And we can talk about that a little bit. So what I'm going to do is share my screen after I'm going to pull it up here, tee it up here, and just have to move some things around. share. It's not going to have any sound. So okay. All right, so this is a Liberty Circle, or not Liberty Circle, a Liberty pattern, an ILHA pattern that you are watching. And oftentimes these are used as compulsories, whether it's for a freestyle. There's specific things that you have to do. You have hitting center. I'm actually a carded ILHA judge, but hitting center is
I'm sorry,
scores
but
you
I can't
higher.
see
Your
it.
degree
I
of,
don't know if
okay, so
everyone else.
what's that?
I can't see it. I don't know if everyone else can though. Maybe they
Oh,
can.
can anybody? Oh, if you guys can go into the chat and see if you can see it. Let me try. Okay, let me go back. I'm glad you mentioned it because I will just stop sharing and try to share again. There we go. Okay. I think it's sharing now. I think I forgot to hit the second button. Okay, so here's an ILHA pattern. Dalton was a little bit off center coming up to this. But this probably resembles one of the patterns you were trying to do, maybe. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So as he's coming through, and so there's specific maneuvers that need to be done in order in a very specific way. Now, not all patterns with the ILHA are going to be this challenging. There are easier patterns to lead people up to those. And for me, the reason I started competing with the ILHA was because I wanted to have a purpose or to have a goal. And so here, this is a higher degree of difficulty as I'm just standing here as he goes around. And he's hitting center, nailing center every single time. Is a little off center there, but with that degree of difficulty, he was pretty darn close and he was coming through pretty straight. Here he gets off a little bit on his change of directions, so he was a little crooked coming through there. It's pretty hard to get a perfect pattern. So if you ever try a pattern with the ILHA, it is pretty hard to have everything completely perfect. You can try. Actually, I happen to have this video up just because this was part of my submission into the invitational for Michigan Horse Expo.
Well, I'm pretty impressed, honestly. I could not at all.
Well, you're going to get there. I have complete confidence. So here he's just slightly off center. So you can see where those cones are. Those are marking the center line. But he stopped right when I asked him to stop. And he backed up pretty darn straight. A little off, but not too bad. So, okay. So we're going to go back and look at your video here. Got a couple of spots I wanted to tee up here. So understanding how we do virtual coaching is using a pivot that allows me to communicate directly to you, watch what you're doing, right? And communicate to you using a Bluetooth earpiece. And then you can talk back to me and it's as though I'm there. And I find a lot of people have, will say, oh, I wish you lived closer. You could help me. That's great. Except that I also find that when I have people in front of me, there's oftentimes this feeling that I need to show them and physically do it for them, but they're not learning as much that way. And so I always have the saying is you can give somebody fish or you can teach them to fish. And and while I love giving clinics and I love working with people one-on-one in person, I've actually found this virtual environment to be a much more rewarding journey for people, because just me as a teacher, I'm able to walk you through step by step. Remember, as I said, approximations, and not only does the horse have to learn through those same approximations, but you also are learning through approximations in smaller steps. So half of what we're doing is for you, and half of it for the horse. So I really like this this piece to it. But here in this section here is we're working on a drawback circle. All right, so it's coming right up here. And there's Navi trying to give a trick. She was really working on her bow that day. That was another one. But here's what I really like is, I mean, you still see a little of the resistance, and that's what training is just to remove that resistance, get the suppleness, get the horse willing to do what we want. But wow, she started off with some stiffness and really got soft in this, and started to have that bend as she went. And that's why in that situation, you know, when she was able to trot like that and have that draw, this is a drawing exercise. We were able to switch, and I'm going to fast forward it just in the same lesson here, where we started to switch your body angle. So I'm going to go back, and it's probably not going to let me stop exactly where I want to stop. So we're just going to have to play it out for a few minutes here. And oh, you know what? I can do it like this. Okay, this should work. So it's gonna. Here's where you're actually going to do some liberty. So you're sending her into, right now you're drawing her. You're still drawing her. Both sticks are on the same side now instead of one on each side, right? And then your body angle shifts. So we start to shift your body angle and drive her forward. And she maintains the bend, right? So we stopped with small approximations. We were stopping and rewarding pretty quickly. So how did you feel about that day? Oh, hang on. You know what? I turned my sound down. Let me turn that back up. Okay, now try talking. Oh, you're muted. Let me get you unmuted again. Oh, who would have known playing a video would have muted you? Okay. How did you feel that day about that?
Oh my God, I couldn't believe it. Honestly, we were doing this for a couple sessions before then, and I felt like I was not getting it, honestly. We were staying at the walk, and Navi had a hard time like keeping up. Like her butt would fall behind or her shoulder would poke out a lot. And I wasn't really getting it, honestly. So then when you're like, okay, let's start at the trot, I was like, okay, we could try. And so when she just started getting it, like I couldn't believe it, honestly. I like was so excited that I made a little video and posted it on Facebook and everything because I could not believe the difference. When we started taking lessons, it felt like kind of slow to me because I told you we had started doing some liberty already, so it felt like we were taking step backs. But I also understood that our communication needed to be refined, so I was okay with that. But to jump from just the walking to this trotting and doing it perfectly, at least in my opinion, it was perfect. I was so excited.
Yeah, and we started to build towards the canter in that very same lesson with the send away. It wasn't quite the Liberty Circle yet, but we needed to build that canter up, and I don't know if you remember that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
still working on the canter. She doesn't stay as close to me in the canter. I think she has a harder time with it, but I'm excited for our next lesson for sure.
I am too. I am too. So, I mean, I'd like to get a little bit more from your perspective. Why do you think this program works? Why do you think that I mean, yes, we took some steps back based on where you were at. We had to refine some things. We had to put some things in place. But why are you thinking that this program works?
Okay, so for me especially, I think the program works because you know how to correct things when I don't. So there was one day in particular, I remember it was also with the drawback circle. This was in the beginning when I was just learning how to do the drawback circle, and Navi didn't know to keep her face like facing me. She didn't know how to do that. And
Right.
so Laura kept telling me to correct her by asking her hindquarters to move. And like it felt like it was constant. Like she wasn't getting it. So I was asking her for her hindquarters, asking her
Remember
for her
that
hindquarters, asking her for the hindquarters. And I was like, oh my God, I would have quit, honestly, because I was like,
day.
this is mean. Like she doesn't get it. But I kept asking it because Laura's like, no, she's gonna get it. You'll see. And she got it. I was like, oh my God.
All of a sudden there was this breakthrough. I remember that day too. I remember
Yeah.
that lesson. Yeah, there was this breakthrough that she, and then she drew up to you, straight up to you like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Now,
Laura knows
oh,
how to push
yeah,
you, sure.
it's good. I mean, I think Navi has really come a long way in just such a short period of time, just in her own right. But so for anyone listening, I just want to say, go into the comments and share if you've ever tried Liberty before on your own, and what were your challenges with Liberty. Can you really relate to what Tiffany is saying, and some of the things that she was going through prior to coming to my Liberty Experience program? Because so I mean, this stuff really works. It's not just Tiffany and Navi, but let me ask you this, Tiffany, what's your vision for the future now that you're actually doing some Liberty and we're going to continue advancing that Liberty Foundation? What's your vision for that future?
Well, I would love to go to some of the competitions like you do, honestly. But most of the Liberty for me is mostly for fun and the relationship building.
Yeah.
But I would love to do the competition side too.
Yeah, it gives you a purpose, right? The competition aspect is not something that most people start off thinking that, hey, I'm going to compete because, hey, you still got to learn Liberty, right? But once you get going, you start saying, hey, I need to have a purpose of what we're doing. Where can I show this off at? Where can I gauge how I'm doing in this, relationship with my horse? And how would you say that this Liberty in itself has changed your relationship with Navi?
Oh, yeah. So Navi, actually, you would be surprised, but she's not the easiest horse to catch. She doesn't come up to you, and sometimes she doesn't want to have her halter on.
Oh,
But this has made her like she's been so much friendlier. She still doesn't come up to you, but she started nickering to me in the field like much more frequently than she used
good,
to. Yeah,
good.
yeah, and she'll let me put her halter on. So that's been really good. I think it's going to continue to grow from there, though. It's
Oh,
been,
absolutely. And it just tells me that we're going to work more on your recall. So
oh, yes.
we're going to get a really strong recall there. So what are you most excited about? I mean, you're doing Liberty, you're gaining trust, you're really doing it. What are you most excited about with all this?
I'm excited to just have like the best relationship with Navi. Like you said, the recall to have her like just want to be with me all the time. That is what I'm most excited about.
Yeah. Well, I hope Tiffany and Navi can inspire those people listening right now in their own Liberty. And Tiffany and Navi did the work, and I just provided the guidance and tweaks to help it along. So I'm really confident in my approach to Liberty, and I've been doing it a few years now, and I know my approach works, and it's helped several people get started in Liberty and has helped them to advance their Liberty. So what I want to do is say, go into the comments. I see we got a couple of messages I'm going to take a look at. I go back and forth, but go into the comments. Let me know who wants results like Tiffany and Navi, who wants to see how she did it, who wants to see the actual method, who wants to hear the step-by-step approach and get their hands on the videos, the breakdown of the psychology behind it. And as well, my new arena guides are getting released soon within my entire program. So, because it really is, that's why I call it the Liberty Experience Program, because it's an entire fully comprehensive program with videos and with the arena guides are coming out soon, and the virtual coaching. And I'm going to be starting some group coaching as well for the people that are in my program. So really, let me know, what you want to see. And do you want to communicate and motivate your horse? Do you want to, how to read your horse, stay attuned to what they need? These are all the things that are included in my program, and how to get your horse to want to do that Liberty Circle around you in a big area, and really just in a few weeks, and maybe even be able to catch your horse. We're talking about fast results just because you'll be able to understand what the horse wants and needs in that relationship. And I think that really makes a big difference. So let me know who wants to get more information on that. I'm just going to peek over here and see. Yeah, so Karen says, my challenge is the equipment I need, not very good Wi-Fi, and I don't know how any patterns or anything. And that's okay on patterns. So as far as the pivot will run off of your cellular. So if you can go to an area that you have some good, because we've had some challenges too, right, Tiffany? We've every once in a while, I think it might have been on my end this last time. And I do have decent Wi-Fi, but every once in a while it's technology, right?
Yeah. I've
So
actually been moving, so it's hard to have good Wi-Fi everywhere.
yeah, it is. It is, especially if you move out into the middle of nowhere and everything. But yeah, I mean, so the Wi-Fi, it actually doesn't, your Pivo doesn't connect to your Wi-Fi. It connects to your phone, the Bluetooth on your phone, and it runs that way. There is no, like, Tiffany, you don't have Wi-Fi where you're at, where we recorded last time, right?
No, no, it's
Yeah.
just off of my data.
Yeah, off of your cellular data. So that's all you need for that, and you need a Pivo. Yes. I mean, certainly we can do it the traditional way. Somebody sends me a video, but I find it's pretty much more effective to have me right there and able to correct you and give you the confidence. And what would you think about that, Tiffany? How's that worked for you with me being right there to catch things?
Oh yeah, it's very helpful for sure. Like I said, like even that part where I had to keep correcting Navi and
That's
you
where my
telling
mind
me
was
to keep
going too.
going. Yeah. It's honestly, it was great for me because I don't know when you're supposed to push or when you're supposed to just give them a break.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So what I'm going to do for those on the call, and Tiffany, I'd like you to stick on and get some last words from you in just a few minutes. But what I'd like to do quick is give everyone an opportunity to get the same information you've gotten. You were looking to take your Liberty training and your relationship to the next level. And I want to talk to those who want the same. I want to know what's going on in your relationships with your horses, maybe peek at a short video, see if there's any blind spots, which is totally fine, because I help half of the people I work with launch their Liberty from scratch. And I want to, and the other half, like you, Tiffany, were starting and working and trying to build that relationship. So, I want to get a clear picture of where you're all at, and I have some free resources that I can get in your hands before I start working with you, and I want to make sure you're really a good fit for my program. And Tiffany, you definitely were, right? Because you wanted to put in some time with your horse, because horses just, to be honest, they can't learn if you're just out there once a week. They're just not going to be able to learn. But um, if you have a horse that you've wanted to develop a better relationship with, and it let's have that conversation. And ideally your horse has some level of respect for you already, but let's have that conversation, see where your goals are at. Tiffany started this program hungry for Liberty, and if you have a horse that lacks some good ground manners, that's okay. We can still make it work. Fundamental Liberty is just plain practical horsemanship. And I can really help accelerate the learning curve for you. Look at your blind spots, and you can go from no liberty to liberty in 6 weeks or less, right? And I believe so intently about what I teach, and I've seen how well it works with many of my clients already. And we're just starting these live streams, but that if you do the work and you follow the system, you'll get the all encompassing magical liberty circles. So I'm going to offer the same thing for everyone on this call, a free 30-minute call to see where you're at with your horse, get that 30,000-foot viewpoint about what I do and how I teach the content. And I believe, Tiffany, you pulled the trigger right on the spot, correct? When we talked,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Yeah.
But there was no high pressure sales, right?
No, no.
No, I think we just talked about how I could help you, and really you were the one that you were saying I want more. And so this call is just a way to see if the system could work for you. And it's just a free 20-minute call. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy the link. I'm going to put it in the chat here real quick. And that way, if somebody wants to schedule that, we can take a look at that and take a look at where you're at. Again, no high pressure sales at all. I just want to be able to help you. I might have some free resources that help get you further in your liberty, but anyway, so if you go to that, just warning, if you click to schedule and something doesn't work, is because maybe somebody just booked that time ahead of you, that you started to do it right at the same time. So it's something that I've seen happen. So I try to warn people. So if you submit it, it doesn't work, just go back to the back button, find another time, and you'll be good to go. But again, there's a lot of people who have what it takes. And Tiffany, you have what it takes. But look at her background. And what did you call yourself? You're a biologist, but you're a
chemical review manager.
Chemical review manager. And that's what Tiffany specializes in. And she wasn't used to animal psychology or what approximations were needed. She only had her first horse for 3 years. There were so many things that I think people will look at now and feel encouraged to say that they can do this as well. And Tiffany, you've given people confidence, and I feel as seeing Tiffany and Navi and watching me or other clients of mine have helped shift these beliefs, because it's a lot about getting connected to the horse's mind. So again, one more time, go to the calendar link, book that call with me, that free 30-minute call. We'll have a conversation and just see where you're at, see what I can shoot your direction, and help you through this. Tiffany, you've been through this. What would you say to someone that's kind of on the fence about thinking about doing this? Or what would you say to the new person just getting started?
I say just take the call. I mean, when I first called her, I was asking her a specific question. I was asking how to side pass with Navi. And so she talked me through how she would do it with Magica. And then she told me about her lessons and stuff. I mean, I jumped on it right away, but you can think about it more. She has all these videos that she sends me to show me other kind of, because I sometimes send her questions just out of the blue and ask her, oh, I saw this post that you made. Could you send me the video too? And she just sends it to me. So
yeah. And sometimes when you have more questions, I'll just go back and film some video, because if you and other people have the same questions, it just makes sense for me to go out and film a video for you to physically see how to correct that. And I think that works too. So would you do anything differently?
At this point, no.
I really like your words. Honestly, Tiffany, you're not just a good story, you're a great story. And watching you grow and develop your relationship in such a short time, you're a testament to liberty and persistence. And my goal is to be the biggest educator of liberty horsemanship in the world. And it's just getting better and better as people are opening up more, to the virtual space. So, I really appreciate you coming on here, and it just shows you have a big heart and are passionate for liberty. And this was pretty candid, correct? We had some topics we were going to cover, but I didn't tell you what to say or how to say it.
No, definitely not.
Yeah. So everyone, if you could go into the comments and let Tiffany know you're grateful for her time. I mean, she's a busy girl. You're moving a lot. So just because that's just a part of your dreams, right? You have this travel, um, this whole traveling thing going on
Yeah.
that's part of, being young and able to do that, not have to plant your roots anywhere. So you're still able to do that even and work your horse at liberty. So you could have done a lot of other things, but you showed up here. You told your story, and I really appreciate that. And so Tiffany, I'm not going to keep you here any longer, but just for everybody listening too, real quick, is next week I do have a really cool announcement. So I want people to stay tuned for that announcement next week. But for those of you that popped in during, I will email you the replay once it's processed. But tap the link, book your call with me, and I might even have you come in here and help motivate others, just as Tiffany has done. So, any last words, Tiffany?
No, honestly, I just wanted to thank you, Laura, for everything you've done and all the lessons you've provided. Thank you for your time and being so flexible with my schedule because it changes sometimes. Yeah, this wouldn't be possible without her. So I really appreciate her and hope you guys get to experience some lessons with her too.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you. Really appreciate your comments. And with that, I'm going to let y'all go. And what I like to do is say, we're going to ring that proverbial bell because you got that Liberty Circle. So there you go. Ding. I got to get myself a bell. All right. We'll see you all and take care.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.